All right. Hi everyone. How's everyone doing? Both on Facebook and Instagram. As always, I'm live on both at the same time so that I can get in front of as many people as possible. I do have some very special things that I wanted to share with you. And just before I get into that, I wanted to remind everybody, I talked about that on my last live that I did last week. I actually still have 4 more spots available in my the free empowerment sessions that I'm giving away this week. So I have 4 more left. If you guys are interested in this, definitely take advantage of it. Like I said, it's a free session where we really dive deep into what is going on with you, what are some things you're experiencing, what are some challenges and pains you are going through, and see how I can help you overcome that. So if you're interested, I'll be posting a link in the bottom of this video when it is finished, so you can go ahead and take advantage of that. And as I said, I only have a few spots left for this week alone. All right, so let's talk about what I wanted to talk about today, what I wanted to share with you guys. As you can see in the title, I wanted to talk about the connection between our physical pain and our emotional pain. And hi, Jess, and hi, babe. I thought you were going live as well. Anyway, so what I wanted to talk about is a lot of times people think that those two things are completely separate. And I am noticing so many of my clients that I work with, and I work with them on the mental and emotional aspect of it. So people say they have a lot of fogginess and a lot of, their brain feels like it's just not clear, and they're forgetting things, and they're not able to think clearly. Plus they have a lot of negative thoughts and a lot of that stuff that brings them down. And then on the emotional side, they're experiencing a lot of emotional pain, a lot of deep sadness, a lot of hurt and pain and things like that, as well as fear and shame and grief and all kinds of other emotions. So those are the mental and emotional aspects that I work with, that I help heal. Now let's talk about the connection between that and the physical body. So a lot of times people think that the physical body is somehow separate. So if I have a physical pain, then it's just a physical thing. And unfortunately, the medical world, the doctors and everything around medicine also sees that as a separate thing. I do think that there is more and more movement towards seeing those two things as being connected. And more doctors are starting to see that there is an absolute correlation between the two. And sadly, we are still very far behind in our thought processes. Again, in the medical world, in the Western sort of idea of the connection between the physical and the mental and emotional. So what do I mean by that? Well, like I said, I have a lot of clients that come to me with the mental and emotional challenges and pains and things that they're struggling with. And at the same time, as I read through their form, they will also mention, oh, and I also have this illness, and I have fibromyalgia, or all kinds of, I can't remember right now all the different things that I hear on a regular basis, but there will always be some sort of a physical symptoms or physical pain that they're also experiencing. And there's always this idea that it's somehow separate, that I'm coming to you to help me with the mental and emotional stuff, but I also have these other physical illnesses that, by the way, I'm just letting you know that I have them, but there's no connection. Well, there's very, very much a connection. And in fact, a lot of my clients, what they experience is once they've released the mental and emotional pain, they also experience an alleviation in the physical symptoms. And, I explain it to them. And of course, we talk about that on the actual sessions that we do together. And they see that there's this connection, that when you release the mental and emotional pain, the physical body heals itself and it functions better, and it releases the pain in the physical body as well. So how it works is your unconscious mind, which is, as you guys by now know, is what I work with. I know, I've studied, I'm trained in the language of the unconscious mind. Hi Heather, thank you so much for being on. So the language of the unconscious mind is how our unconscious mind communicates to us and how we communicate directly to it. So one of the job descriptions, I guess you can say, of your unconscious mind is not just one. Actually, there's lots, and a few of them include keeping you alive, keeping you safe, keeping you basically in this survival mode, where the unconscious mind, all that it's looking for is, are you breathing? Do you have enough food? Do you have enough water? Is your body temperature regulated properly so that you're not overheating or freezing? So all of these things happen unconsciously. And of course, your unconscious mind's intention is just to basically keep you alive, which is where, when we talk about stretching our comfort zone and kind of growing as a human being, as a person, not physically growing, but growing our mind, expanding emotionally, and opening up to the world in a different way, there's just a little bit of resistance, because your unconscious mind wants to just pull you back into this little comfort zone, this little spot where it knows you are safe. And it goes, hey, you're breathing, you're living, you're alive, you've got enough food, you're just stay right where you are, because any step forward that into the unknown can be dangerous. And then the fear kicks in, and the fear kicks in as a way to try and keep us away from that. So one of my favorite acronyms for the word fear is false evidence appearing real. So it's when our mind starts to put all kinds of things in front of us to generate this feeling of fear, just to keep us in our comfort zone. But anyway, I feel like I'm kind of going off topic with that a little bit, because that whole concept is total separate video in and of itself. But I wanted to talk about the idea of the unconscious mind wanting to preserve you as a human being, to keep you safe and alive. And so when we experience emotional pain, of course, the unconscious mind again sees it as a bad or negative thing, because it's hurting you. So what it's going to do is it's going to suppress the mental and emotional pain underneath the surface. So in your unconscious mind, where you are not consciously aware of it, where you don't know what's happening, where it's kind of tucked away, so that you are not experiencing this hurt and this pain and this turmoil on a regular basis. Now, I had a conversation with a client today about this, that when you are experiencing depression, then it's almost like that pot has become too full, and now your unconscious mind is trying to keep a lid on it, and it's having a hard time. Or another way to think about it is, you have this big giant beach ball, and you're trying to keep it under the water, under the surface, but the pressure is building up and building up, and after a while it erupts and explodes. And that's when you kind of get to that point where enough is enough. And sadly, that's the point where people make a decision to either end their life or to shift everything in a completely different direction and go, I'm not living like this anymore, I need to change something. So all it is, again, is your unconscious mind keeping the emotions and the thoughts that are hurting you emotionally tucked away, so that you don't feel them and you don't experience them, again, with the intention to keep you safe and alive and kind of surviving. That's all that it's interested in. But as human beings, we understand that there's more in life than to just survive and just to get by, to just have enough food and enough air and, you know, be in a warm shelter and have a bed to sleep on. Life is so much more than that. We are also emotional beings, and we need connection, and we need fulfillment, and we need a purpose, and all of those things are what make us who we are as human beings. And so when the unconscious mind has tucked enough of that emotional pain away, not allowing you to actually experience it, that's when it starts showing up in physical symptoms. So this is where now the physical body is being affected by all the emotional pain that you have put away and tucked away and have been ignoring or consciously not paying attention to. It'll show up in your physical body. And so that's why there's so much of this connection. And I see this with my clients all the time, that when we release the emotional pain, whether there was a trauma that they experienced, or in general, it's just this whole accumulation of a lot of negative feelings and thoughts over many, many, many years, we release that, and then they physically feel different. Their physical pains and aches also go away with the emotional pain. Happens all the time, because again, your unconscious mind is tucking all of that away, and it's keeping it underneath the surface. And it's almost like it's gonna have to pop up somewhere at some point. And a lot of times it shows up in the physical body. So the pain that we have in the physical body really is actually a message. It's a message from our unconscious mind telling us that we can't continue to hold this under the surface anymore, that we have to do something about it, because you may be experiencing emotional pain, but we've learned to, again, tuck it away. We've learned to live with it. We've learned to cope with it. We've learned to just kind of be with it and say, oh, you know, it's okay. It's just kind of part of life. Life is tough. Life's a bitch. And all these different sayings that kind of let us know as a society that it's okay to suffer, that somehow it's all part of our human experience and all of that, which is complete bullshit. I mean, I believe in growth. I believe in expanding. And yeah, that can be a little bit uncomfortable. And uncomfortable is different from painful. It's different from suffering. It's different from going through life wishing you weren't even alive. There's a big difference right there. So in Western society, when we tuck the emotional pain away, the only way that our unconscious mind can get our attention is through physical pain, because physical pain is something that we learn to address very quickly, and we run to the doctor with every little cough and sneeze and cut and bruise and whatever. I mean, you know, the ER is overfilled with people, half of which could have just stayed at home, gotten some rest, and maybe dealt with some emotional issues, and they wouldn't even have to go there. But that's the sad truth, because people think that, oh, if it's a physical pain, then it's real pain, and there's something real there. There's a real problem, and you have to address it on the physical level, which is why, again, the doctors, all they can really do is put a Band-Aid on it. They can give you a painkiller, a pain suppressant, which antidepressants, that's all they are. They suppress the emotional pain longer and further so that you are not experiencing the painful emotion and it doesn't affect your life, when in fact it's actually making it worse, because you are tucking the problem away deeper and deeper. So it just kind of numbs the pain on the surface, but it doesn't deal with the problem at its root. And so really wanted to bring that up to everybody's attention, that when you are experiencing physical pain, it's that point where your unconscious mind is just saying, I've had enough. There's a lot of emotional trauma. There's a lot of mental blockages and disconnects and all kinds of things happening on that level, where your unconscious mind just can no longer keep it in, and now it's showing up in these physical terms because it thinks that you will finally respond to physical pain, because as we know, we can't really be in physical pain for a long time. I know I experienced this just a couple of weeks ago. I did not treat my physical body very nicely. I was really caught up in work, and I was doing a lot of work, which I'm really passionate about, to a point where I forgot to eat. And then I went to eat and I ate the wrong thing, and I ate too much of it, and my stomach just cramped up, and I was in so much pain where I couldn't sleep all night. And then I had a very big session the following day with a really important client, and I push through, because again, I kind of pushed that pain away and I was able to power through it. But then my physical body just kept reminding me that it's not okay. And yes, I was crippled, bent over in pain. My husband had to go out in the middle of the night to get me some painkillers, because sadly I've ignored that part for so long that now it's showing up in this physical way. And I knew, though, the difference for me was that I knew that I can take this painkiller just to alleviate the pain a little bit, so that I can focus on the mental and emotional healing. So just taking a painkiller is not a solution. Just taking drugs is not a solution. It should be used more like a crutch to help you learn how to walk. And then when you finally learn how to walk, you throw the crutch away. You don't just keep the crutch with you for the rest of your life. So again, when you guys experience any kind of physical discomfort, take inventory, go inside, ask your unconscious mind, what is it that it's trying to communicate to you from a mental and emotional perspective? What is it that you are ignoring emotionally? Is there a pain? Is there a conflict? Is there something that's going on emotionally inside that you have been putting away and ignoring for such a long time, that now it's trying to get your attention through physical pain? Let me see, there's a question here, Heather. Yes, Heather, absolutely. This will be posted on my Facebook page. And also I post all my videos to my YouTube channel as well. So you can always have access to all of this at any point. I hope that helps. And always excited and looking forward to getting comments even after the video has gone live. So, all right, again, this is what I wanted to talk to you guys about today is the connection between the mental and emotional, that when we get physical pain, it is coming from the emotional. Those two things are not separate. We can't just heal the physical and completely ignore the mental and emotional. They are connected. The physical pain is a message that your body is sending to you, letting you know that something is wrong on a mental and emotional level. And actually, interestingly enough, my laptop right now is propped up on a book. It's a really thick book that we refer to all the time or on a regular basis whenever we do have any physical pain come up. The book is called Messages from the Body, and it's trying to remember the name of the author. I can post it again in the comments, but Messages from the Body is basically that. It's when certain aches and pains show up in our physical body, what is the message behind it? What is the underlying problem and the baggage that our physical body is trying to communicate to us through this pain, so that we finally pay attention to it, so that we finally address it and we finally release the problem at the root cause, at that emotional seed that's been planted many years ago, and we've allowed it to grow instead of just pulling that weed out of our being, from our mental being, our emotional being, and just completely removing it altogether. When we ignore it, it just grows and grows and grows and takes over and gets to a point where it becomes overwhelming, which is why a lot of people with depression experience a lot of physical symptoms. There's a physical exhaustion and being tired, and again, because there's just so much emotional baggage that's been stored and accumulated that has not been cleared away. And the good news is that it may have taken you years to accumulate this baggage and pile it on and shove it all down and, put the lid on and try to keep the lid shut, and, the beach ball and whatever other metaphor or analogy you want to use. So it may have taken years to build it all up, and it only takes minutes to release it. The sessions that I do, I always tell my clients, I do not believe in ongoing therapy. I don't want to see my client more than a couple of times or a few times, because I help them do the release work and then off they go. I want to see them living a happy life. I don't want to see them over and over and over again coming back to me talking about the same problem, because then I feel like I haven't helped them. So I work with my clients very differently. We do a 1 in 10 session. We blow all the baggage out. It's gone in minutes or hours. I guess the full session takes hours, because there's a process that needs to happen before we can get to the release part. And then that's it. And then I follow up with them a couple of times and they're good to go. It's not that I don't love my clients. It's not that I don't want to see them over and over again. It's just that, to me, I want to know I have helped people when I know that they have healed, and I see the results, and they send me amazing messages. Like you can see, I sometimes post on my Facebook some of the things that my clients are texting me days after the session, weeks after the session, and they tell me, oh my God, my life looks different, it feels different, everything is different. So I don't need to keep seeing this person. I don't need to keep this person in therapy with me forever, because they are now finally living the life that they've always wanted to live once they've removed all this mental and emotional baggage and all of that stuff out of the way. All right, so this is it, what I had for you guys today. Again, a reminder, I have a few more empowerment sessions that I'm giving away for free for this week only. So if you're interested, there will be a link at the bottom of this video. Share it with anybody that you know that could possibly be interested in this or would want to take advantage of this. The empowerment session is where we look at what is going on. Maybe, like I was talking about in this video today, maybe you've had a lot of physical pain and you're not sure where it's coming from. Well, let's dig deeper and see what is the emotional root cause behind it, and let's release it. Let's blow it out. So we talk about what's the problem, how can I help? How can I help you get to the life that you've been wanting to live, and all the things that have been blocking you and preventing you from actually experiencing that. So take advantage of that. Comment below any questions, any comments, anything you want want to share, definitely do that. I absolutely love interacting with everybody on here. Share this, comment somebody's name below who you think really needs to see this, all of it. Thank you guys again. Always a pleasure. I love being here. I love all the people that come on live and then that comment and share afterwards. Thank you again so much for all your support and for your interaction. So if there are no questions or anybody else has anything to say, I am going to log off and say bye for now. And again, this will be live and available on my Facebook and on my YouTube channel as well. Thanks everybody. Thank you so much. And I will see you soon.